Hey Gators, it's Dr. Jensen, and I thought I would try to do a quick video, maybe working through some of the defaults and settings that can get you further along into launching UF apps and getting access to SPSS software that you need for labs. So as much as I might fumble through this a little bit, I'm okay fumbling in front of you. I know I've had a little bit of a challenge trying to get exactly the result I wanted to using different browsers, playing with different settings, but I know that there are some strategies that you may find helpful if you're also experiencing this. So right now I'm on the apps page, so there are some things that are useful here, like it'll tell you, what are UF apps? What is this? So essentially UF apps is a virtual desktop that hosts hundreds of different software applications that are licensed by the University of Florida. So it lets students access software that they can use for class and projects without having to buy it. So it's a university level license and you're just using it on a server host. That's basically what it is. But you have to authenticate and log in and get access to these apps so that you abide by the agreement of the license, of course. So essentially, this tells you a little bit about the apps tool if you're interested. But if you go here, how do I get to the login page? It has that famous link, which is portal.apps.ufl.edu. Now, this is where some of the hiccups have come from, and where you're prompted to install a Horizon client or use the native version. And to be honest, I've played with both, and I've gotten different results depending on what browser I'm in. One thing I'm going to encourage you to do, though, is go ahead and open up a new tab. I'm currently in Google Chrome. So if you open up Google Chrome, that's where I have found that the performance is the best, is open up Google Chrome and go to go to Chrome and then Chrome settings. So if you go to your settings and then go to privacy and security, you can go ahead and delete your browsing history. And you can also delete your third-party cookies, okay? And I've already done this, so it's not letting me do it again. But these things have been really, really helpful in trying to kind of reset my browser settings so I'm not stumbling on top of defaults and extensions and things like that. So in any case, once you're kind of done with that step, I'm going to close this tab for now and go back to portal.apps.ufl.edu. You'll see there's two links down here. It says to view all UF apps, go to regular desktop applications, click here. To view the graphics desktop applications, click here. These are just different versions of the server. So I'm going to click the regular desktop. So if I click on that, it'll launch what's called the native client. And it gives you this list of all the different software on apps, which is like, okay, yeah, that's nice, but I can't actually go to SPSS and launch it or click on anything, so you kind of feel stuck. Okay, so you might go back to login.uf apps, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to launch the native client. Okay, so I'm just going to click on that link. Here you're actually prompted for your username and password. And I have to give permission because I've cleared everything. And you may also need to authenticate using Duo as well. So you will want to have your devices handy so you can finish that step. And then sometimes you'll get prompted to say, hey, should we open up this Horizon client? That's just a third-party vendor extension that helps host the virtual desktop. You can open it if you want. And it'll prompt you to download it, or you can continue on with the native client. But again, it's kind of up to you. I've had success with both. So it also very much depends on your browser settings and if you've installed it previously or not. And sometimes you have to kind of trick your browser into doing different things. So I'm just going to work my way through these settings. It's wanting me to install this third-party vendor, and I'm going to go ahead and load that desktop, but eventually it should bring you to the UF Apps desktop. So right here, it's loading the desktop, and it says, do you want to share removable storage and things like that? So this is, do you want to be able to access drives and storage on your own hard drive if you need to share files? I allow drive sharing, but keep in mind you can always hit the escape key if you don't want a full view of the browser. So in the search tool, and sometimes it takes a minute or two to set up, so you might need to let it load. You can type in SPSS, and then you see it actually finds the app for you, and you can launch the app from there or press open, and then eventually you'll see a little Sigma symbol. That is the icon for SPSS, and it will begin loading the tool. It does take a little while to load, so just be patient. This is the part where you go get a drink from the fridge and come back, and you'll probably see that the software is ready to go. It's a software that was purchased by IBM, and it's kind of a RAM hog. It takes a lot of memory to open, but eventually it does launch, and you'll see a view that looks familiar to you in our labs, which is a welcome view and then a data view. So you kind of get this prompt here. This is just a, hey, let us try to fix and make our program better. You can hit cancel. You don't have to do that. Or you may be presented a welcome message, which you can also turn off in the future. But now I have the program open, and I can use my tweezers to kind of expand it, make it bigger. Keep in mind, this is a Windows-based application. You can minimize it. And then if you're trying to find it again, you can go down to your system tray, find that Sigma symbol, press on it, and it'll show you which windows you have open. Now there's a few things that are just kind of good to be aware of. So I'm going to open some data. So I'm in the program. I'm going to go to File, Open Data. And I'm actually going to go get some data from the R drive. So I'm going to go into Courses and Fall 2024. And data, and I'm just going to grab some data so that we can kind of illustrate a few things in class. A data set we're in quite a bit is the Ad Health data. So I'm going to open that up. Now, you'll find that when you open data from the program, you get a file that looks like this. And you may only have one window. Eventually, you're going to be running functions in the data. So for example, if I want to do a frequency of a certain variable in this data, like for example, maybe I want to look at the gender of the people in the data, so I'm going to run a frequency and run a frequency on gender. I now have two windows open. So again, in this environment, you can move these windows around because they will stack on top of each other, or again, you can minimize them, and they're both available down below in your system tray. And you now have output, which shows you the result of your function you ran, which I equate to the receipt tape that comes out of the calculator. That's essentially what output is. It shows you a running log of the things you're doing in your data. And then you can also go over to the window that shows the file itself, the data. So an easy way to keep track of these is the data file has a little bit of red coloring inside the icon, and the output file has more blue coloring. And then if you ever are in a syntax file, which we will be occasionally, that has more orange coloring. But this can hopefully help you work through just getting to the app and opening up some files and data and that sort of a thing. So hopefully this helps, and we'll see you next time.